My boy Lihaku. I am totally, absolutely rooting for my boy Lihaku. Episode 21 of Apothecary Diaries was a fantastic episode, super wholesome. I love almost like this dynamic with Maomao, Lihaku, and Pairin, and this idea of Maomao trying to back him up. I mean, it literally established in this episode, Maomao looks at the two candidates for her and is like, both of those routes is not good. And Lihaku right here, he's got it. He's motivated. He's strong. He's got the body for it and everything. He's actually a good fit. And I like how they basically, I mean, they established this before. The girls at the house are literally Maomao's family. They are that's her sisters. And it really pushed it even further, saying Pairin is literally like her mother. It's this person that literally fed her and nurtured her as an infant. And so she's basically trying to find her mom a husband. And Lihaku is the one that she's chosen. This person right here technically can make her happy compared to these other two. I mean, this is some old dude that's rich, and this is the other dude that just can't keep up. Lihaku is the perfect choice. And so she's backing her. But again, it kind of sucks the very end. And we're going to shelve this story. Like, no, Pairin's not even ready yet. She's like, I'm still waiting for my prince. I'm still in the game. They just misunderstood. They misheard what was happening, sort of implying the idea that it was a Khan that was looking to buy Maomao. But still, it's like this, like we're going to shelve it now. It's fine. I'm looking forward to future things with Lihaku and Pairin. I'm just absolutely rooting for them. There was a side of me that almost thought this episode could end like tragically in the idea that, nope, Pairin went with this other guy. And Lihaku is like heartbroken and Maomao's trying to support him. But again, from the background, it sort of indicates the idea that Maomao, they could accept that. That was the oddity. Everything until now has kind of established this idea that they will put them up for bid. This is a princess of this house. They will put her up for bid. But that's also technically in line with what they've established with the old lady. She's harsh. She knows how to drive a bargain. She knows how to make sure that everybody pays top dollar for the stuff. She knows how to keep her company afloat. I mean, they used to have it in a bad position, and then at this point, it's doing very well. These three courtesans, these sisters, these princesses of this house, they're worth some dough, and they will put them up for bid. They won't just sell them, they'll put them up for bid. And you would assume that, yes, at least with these two individuals, and even with Lihaku involved, these three individuals will have to bid her, and that price will go skyrocketing. But they're sort of indicating this idea that there's a chance, at least Maomao believes, there's a chance that she actually would accept less than 10,000 if it's the one she wants. So it is sort of kind of leaving the door open that the old lady probably would allow her to choose the one that she actually loves, not just go with the one that bids the most. So it's kind of interesting in that regard. I think the grandma would still want to push for a lot of money out of Lihaku, but again, it at least opens that door that she would allow Pairin to be happy in the end, which makes sense. This is literally like one of her kids. I mean, it is a business and everything, but it is basically her family, and she's going to make sure that she goes to somebody that's actually she's happy with. So really good stuff there. Again, I love seeing Maomao like just working as a wingman in the background, writing letters over, trying to make sure that everything kind of works out for Lihaku. Like, he's here, he's ready for you, he's working hard, all that kind of stuff. And I think there's also a side of it kind of seeing how hard Lihaku's working and wants him to. I think Pairin wants Lihaku to work hard, keep pushing, get up higher, get that promotion, get stronger, work on that body, work for me, work to get me. And I think that kind of plays into the whole situation with Jinshi offering to give him the money. I'll give you that 20,000. I just want, it's good to work with somebody that's of a good standing, somebody that's rising up in the ranks. It's good for me too. I'm not just giving you this money to give you this money. And it turns to Lihaku literally saying, no, I want to get this wife for myself with my own efforts. I can't use another man's money. What would that make me as a man? He literally is standing up for the idea that I will get her. And again, like Pairin's probably over here going, yep, you're going to get me. Keep fighting. I love it. I think it's literally, I think Pairin is almost trying to put it off. She says she's waiting for her prince, but I don't think she's mentioning it in the idea that I'm waiting for that special someone to come along. I think she knows Lihaku's an option here. He's got everything that she's looking for. Like, Maomao was like, let me examine you. Yep, you got everything that she's looking for. She couldn't see under the carriage. She was still wanting to see what was under the carriage, which probably is still also a thing too. But no, he's got everything. Just needs to work a little harder and get that money up or whatever he needs to do. Build up and prove yourself. Prove that you're worthy of getting her. It's super good because it's like in the wake of the discussion of a courtesan buying somebody, basically, all that stuff is, again, very foreign to most people of our time. But in that time frame, it's normal. This is how it is. But there's still like this romantic mix in there that actually does make it a lot more heartwarming and really kind of ramps up the emotion for it. I absolutely love it. They've done a great job with that whole story. So really love that bit. Love that whole segment of this episode. Other than that, yes, technically they did hint at the idea of Lacan again going to the house, which we already knew that. It seems like he's thinking about blue roses. I don't know what the significance of blue roses is. The title of the next episode is Blue Roses, so obviously it seems like Lacan's going to be involved in the next episode, but that was a little bit of a tease in there. But outside of that, it's really kind of just a lot of this information around Guen, the pharmacist. Now, I don't remember any indication of who Gwen's sister is. He said that his eldest sister is there. I do like how it kind of opens up that whole scene with the idea of Maomao almost making assumptions of Guen. Oh man, he's got paper, sweet potatoes, really nice paper. They're using it as a plate. This guy's loaded. And then she makes all these assumptions about him, how he's had a great life. And yeah, your initial thought there is, yeah, he's from a rich family and everything, but why is he a eunuch in the rear palace? Like, why is he here, the inner palace? Why is he here? Well, it seems like his family has had some rough times. I like that kind of assumptions that she makes about Guen. Then immediately he turns the tables and says, no, this is my life. And he still has a chippery attitude, which I do kind of like in him, despite the fact that, yes, he's talking about how his family went on hard times. They had to change paper materials because the previous emperor's mom basically said they can't cut down trees. So they had to find new materials and all this kind of stuff. And then at that point, they had to literally sell the eldest sister to the rear palace. And then he sold himself so that they didn't have to get rid of the youngest sister as well. And now he's in there as a eunuch. Yeah, sounds like this dude's had some rough times. I guess his life wasn't always great. But yeah, that gets into the whole thing about the paper and how it's having problems. And apparently the oxes are drinking out of the same water they're using for it. It's like you have stored water and you're letting oxes drink out of it. Like, who the hell did that? Like, not even just the saliva. I mean, the dirt and everything involved with that. It's like you're literally mixing a lot of different stuff in there. It was still interesting having Maomao figure it out, but that was a goofy little bit. I like the chemistry between Maomao and Guen. I think they're great. But again, I don't think we've ever established who his eldest sister is. I don't think we've met her yet. I mean, yes, I can go down the line and look at like the older characters in the cast, like Feng Ming. But Feng Ming, their family was into honey, so it can't be Feng Ming. With, I guess the other one is Sweden, but Sweden is not in the inner palace or rear palace. She's outside there with Jinshi. But I guess she could have been moved, but she's really old. Like, I don't think Guen is that old. I mean, he looks probably like in his 40s or something like that. So I don't think it's Sweden either. I mean, it could be a much older sister, but Sweden, I think, is up in her 80s or maybe 70s. I don't think she's that young. So I don't think we've met his sister yet. But he does indicate that he hasn't been able to see her. Like, legit, he's been here this whole time. He's literally working to help the courtesans and stuff like that, and he hasn't seen her. Now, it could be that it may have been a mistranslation there, like not the rear palace where the courtesans are, but maybe elsewhere. But he indicated the idea that he came there and he didn't see her. So maybe it's just simply that she's in an area that he can't see. But hopefully we'll have like a reunion there, see who that is. But yeah, other than that, just a bunch of fun moments with Jinshi being super jealous. I'm like, Mama's literally checking out Lihaku's body to make sure that he's a fit for her. And the entire time he's just taking off clothes and flexing. And then suddenly Jinshi walks in and just completely wrecks him. But it, like, isn't this little conversation about how Maomao, of course, as a pharmacist, as somebody that helps with these people and their illnesses, in a lot of cases, yeah, technically they never do get told exactly what they're doing and exactly what's wrong with the person. They have to figure it out. It's examining the body to find out. And there's a lot of cases where they're going to have somebody that's ill that doesn't know where it actually hurts, know exactly what's causing a problem. Maybe a nerve is messed up and they think it feels like it's here, but it's actually up here because the nerve is one long stretch. So they actually do have to examine a body and be able to tell what they're kind of going through, what they're dealing with, and it tells them a massive story. And again, technically the entire time, Jinshi is thinking that she's talking about something completely different, which is like all these goofy little misunderstandings that the two of them have. Jinshi has a habit of going to the extremes because he's jealous. Let's be perfectly clear. He's constantly jealous. So he's always going to run to the furthest. It's like the whole situation with Maomao going out there with Jinshi or Lihaku to begin with. Immediately, he just assumed the worst. And I think that kind of applied to here as well. He still probably has that jealousy there of Lihaku, but it's a lot of fun. I always enjoy it. But yeah, you're not really fit for my sister. Wait, what are we talking about? Wait, what are we talking about? Now, I was a little mixed on the conversation with Jinshi. Let me be perfectly honest. Jinshi and Lihaku, I was very mixed on that conversation. Because yes, at the forefront, or at least based on the comment made at the very end, Jinshi was testing Lihaku. Now, here's the oddity, because it kind of indicates this idea that he was also trying to recruit Lihaku to keep an eye on Lacan. Because he says specifically, because obviously Lihaku is a part of the military, Lacan is one of the strategists, and so my assumption was that, yes, he was trying to help Lihaku because Maomao trusted him. And I thought that the conversation with Maomao and Jinshi was the idea that I want to help out my sister/mother. And so Jinshi was going to help out Lihaku to make sure that her mother/sister was happy. He wanted to do that for Maomao. But then it also kind of turned it to hinting at it's because he wants to get in good with Lihaku because he wants somebody to keep an eye on Lacan. That he knows at some point something's going to come up with Lacan and I need somebody to be at my side or at least be my informant or whatever. So I thought he was trying to recruit Lihaku in some way. But then it shifts into him making a statement about being a man and doing it with his own efforts. And it kind of concludes it with that comment of Jinshi saying, I had nothing to worry about. So it kind of reverts it back to the original idea of him just looking out for Maomao and making sure this guy is not shady. Like, she's very cautious of people, but yet she really trusts him. So I need to test him to make sure that her choice is correct, that he is trustworthy. And he sort of gets that indication that, no, this guy is somebody I don't have to worry about. He's passionate about Pairin, not my Maomao. It kind of almost turns it into a thing of him literally just trying to test the guy, and then he's convinced at that point, okay, this Lihaku guy has no interest in my Maomao. I'm good. He has no interest in my Maomao. I'm good. It was like all over the place with what his intention there. It could be all three. Recruiting for Lacan, testing to make sure that he's trustworthy around Maomao, and additionally, yes, possibly wanting to help Maomao out with her sister, basically. So very interesting stuff. I'd be curious to see if it kind of clarifies that later on. I'm sure that he said that we'll meet each other again. So it seemed like obviously that Jinshi's probably going to want to work with Lihaku in the future. But yeah, I loved all the stuff around Maomao and Pairin. Kind of mentioned the idea that once she was brought in by Loman, she immediately was being taken care of by the girls at the house, the old lady and the three sisters, basically. And immediately going in the idea that Pairin herself, she was lactating despite not being pregnant, and so she was essentially, she became very maternal. Like, she was taking care of Maomao, she was feeding Maomao, and at the same time, she just became pretty much the mother figure. Like, she took that position, like, went right in there. And it was super sweet, just this idea of this person being the one that always raised her. Which is, yes, technically in, like, contrast to what we've experienced with her and her experience with who seems to be her mother. And that makes sense. She was birthed and then probably immediately rejected by her mother. And these sisters basically took her in, took care of her. Yes, to the point where she grew old enough and just basically became part of the family. Super interesting. And yeah, just like up the level of the sisters of the house. Like, they're too freaking good. These girls absolutely love their Maomao and they want to take care of her. So super sweet. But I think the thing that stood out the most around Pairin especially was that she has been active in the bed. Now, I remember back when they were talking about when Maomao was telling Jinshi what would essentially lower the value of a courtesan, she said specifically deflowering. And not only that, but specifically getting them pregnant. And so it was like this idea of damaged goods. Now, she said specifically there is the courtesans. Every girl that wants to become a courtesan, they train them. And then at some point, they see how beautiful they become. And they separate them. The beautiful and the not beautiful. And the not beautiful are the ones that go to beds. Like, they're the ones that they start using their bodies. That's all they have. Use the body. But the ones that are seen as beautiful, those ones actually go off to be not touched. Specifically, they'll play games, they'll entertain. They are the untouched beauty until the point they can be sold. So that was the whole point of that whole conversation, was Jinshi saying what would lower their value. Essentially deflowering, and even worse, which is death, getting them pregnant. So I'm not sure what they mean by Pairin essentially being like crazy in bed. Unless she's just specifically in bed, but nothing actually. I guess they're limited on what they can actually do in the bed. Like, they can get in the bed with the guys, I guess. It's just they can't allow certain things to go into certain locations. I guess that's the whole point there. But it was kind of odd they mentioned that. Like, she is super thirsty, and she likes all this stuff. And the entire time I'm going, but wouldn't that lower her value? I don't know. It's interesting. But anyways, that's my thoughts. I was all over the place in this video. I'm sorry. But that's my thoughts on episode 21 of Apothecary Diaries. Just a really super wholesome episode. Again, rooting for Lihaku. Some sweet moments of Pairin. Really love her character. And yeah. Looking forward to the next bit, but I hope you guys enjoy this video. As always, if you did, make sure that like button down below, comment, let me know what's the episode. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button's got my content and news, reviews, first impressions, top list, if it's animates, pretty much here. Additionally, if you like this content and you want to support the channel more, I have Patreon link, tips, links, super links, membership button down below. Greatly appreciate it, but it does. And y'all take care.